man don't know shit. I might not know shit, but I know enough. I might not know shit, but I know enough. You might call me dumb, but I have a lot of fun. I might not know shit, but I know enough. It's a celebration, our 30th anniversary, 30th episode anniversary. Oh shit, I just nailed my elbow. But yeah, I'm super excited. A couple of years ago, came out in the 45s, went on tour with the Voodoo Glow Skulls, and we did all of Canada from one ocean to the other, and got to know each other real well and had a absolute great time. Fantastic people. And today I'm going to be sitting down with Eddie Casillas. Ah, man, fantastic guitar player. I think he's the founder of the group. I will ask because I'm not sure exactly how that story goes. And I just can't wait to see him. So underneath the video here is the link, a PayPal link. That's for tips of 25 cents, 50 cents, $1 or more. That is the Be a Producer program. Any tip, no matter how big or small it is, you become the producer of the next episode. It's DIY family style. That's how we keep things running here. And that brings us to the producer of this episode is none other than Mr. Mike Gasseldorfer. Yes, of the last episode. What a guy. Love it. Thanks, brother. Honestly, thanks a lot, right? And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell thingy there. And let's do this. I can't wait to sit down. All right, go. My man, can you hear me?
Yo.
How you doing, brother?
Came on, man. What's up?
Fuck, man. It's the middle of the winter. It's a pandemic. They have a curfew on at 8 o'clock. Everything is shut down. You can't even go outside for a walk. I'm like a fucking rat in a cage.
It's 8 p.m. for you guys, huh? Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Am I good on volume? Am I good?
Yeah, you sound great, brother.
Cool. Yeah, man, it's been crazy. I've been here pretty much the whole time. I've been here for the better part of the year, except for one weekend. I took off for 2.5 days to my girlfriend had a photo shoot up north. So we escaped right when it was kind of calm here. It was
yeah.
There was that moment, I would say, I guess when it was hitting hard, in New York and stuff. Here, it was kind of a little bit it's sketchy as fuck, but we hadn't done anything, and the case numbers were super low here. So it was we just left with masks in the whole 9 yards and drove up north past San Francisco to do a photo shoot, and that was real quick around people that had already had it or that were long had it and that were safe, and we came back, and that's the only thing I've really done, man.
When you say you're here, where exactly are you right now?
I'm home in Riverside.
Yes,
Riverside.
California.
Yeah, about about an hour southeast of LA. I'm about 50 miles away from.
All right,
and about half hour from the beach in Orange County.
Okay, yeah, cool. But in California, have they managed to keep things pretty much under control, or has it gotten way out of hand now?
I keep tabs, of course, because it's sketchy as fuck, and I've been paranoid because I had 3 family members pass away, or 4 now, which is still devastating. It's almost, I'm acting nonchalant about it because it's so hard to believe still, because I hadn't seen them in a while, of course, but 4 fucking family members that are gone that are close.
Related to COVID?
Oh yeah, all COVID related.
Oh shit, brother! I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you. Well, one super close to here, and in the same county, and my age. And so it's been gnarly to think about wow, I'm not going to see them again. So yeah, it's been out of control. With that, but for a while there, it was kind of calm, and you didn't hear much about it. During the spring, it was kind of. It was a big deal, but I think people were sort of playing it safe, and you'd hear about the protests here at the beach down south from here. There's always going to be that. So, but for the most part, people were paying attention. But then you have the counties around us where they're unincorporated counties around us. So it's it's Southern California, and you see, maybe people see it seems glamorous a little bit because the beaches in LA and Hollywood. But you get hillbilly shit in Southern California, close to here. It's all over the place. So.
Right. And then they're coming in to visit and fucking the shit up. And
yeah, well, there's protests going on and stuff, and anti-mask stuff and Trump stuff going on. But most people, like, I guess that I know, are kind of chilling and like waiting for the shit to end for the year, and just
Well,
kind of
that's
watching
it.
and just kind of watching it, kind of happen on the news, and then you escape here and there, like I did, of course, when it's safe. But like, dude, it's been like I've been treated like I've been in like a zombie apocalypse, dude. I've been paying attention, man, because it's been like I was safe for a minute when I went up north, and I thought it was cool, and then this second round, which to get back to what we were saying, though, I guess it supposedly peaked here this last week.
Right. Okay.
Like it just peaked, which is, I guess they have a way of knowing, I guess, with the stats and stuff like that. And it seems to be cool now, but it seems to be going down now. And
yeah. Well, you're still in the thick of shit, and that's for sure, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, in my county, I've been watching the numbers were scary, and then they start to go down by like 100 every day now. They're going down. So it's like, okay. So it seems to be really going down, which is like, okay, I'll just chill as long as, I'm kind of cool at home. I mean, we've been making music and just kind of, doing what we're supposed to do when you stay home, I guess,
Well, that's it. Don't you have a home studio there? I saw a video of you in your home studio.
Yeah, I've been at it for a long time. This is actually, this would be my 21st year now.
Wow.
So I started in 2000, around the end of 99 or 2000, with my first, like the first gear that I bought, that I would say I set up with, and like try to, play stuff through and like learn. So it's been about 21 years now. This would be my 21st year, but I wasn't really, it's been more of a project studio. Like it's been like a pseudo business, like here and there, when the band has had a bunch of downtime, or, that
well, it's all time management, right? At the end of the day.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So so I've never really had a chance to say it's a business and I'm gonna do ads and like really do it right. But I've been doing bands and projects for that long, man. Just with the idea of getting better at doing our stuff.
Well, that's it, because you record most of the Voodoo stuff, right?
Just the last couple records we've done here, the last 3 or 4.
Okay. Do you do the mastering as well, or do you like mix it there and then ship it off for mastering?
We've always had it mastered somewhere else. Yeah. We started recording here when we got on Victory Records. That was the first kind of stuff that we did here. You know what I mean? Like I guess
is that like the Who Is This Is, and was that for Victory?
No, that's our first record, man. That's the first shit. That's on Who Is This Is. That's on that's on Dr. Strange, which is a label that's about to repress that record again. We're about to do like a
cool.
repress of that. Yeah,
that's a bona fide classic, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's our first record. It's one of those things where, it was a culmination of years of doing backyard parties and weeding out songs, and trying to learn how to write songs. And
when we were on tour, we blasted that album in the van so many times.
Oh, that's nice. That's cool, man. Yeah, it's always interesting to hear what the other bands do in their van or in their bus or whatever.
Exactly.
That tour, you wouldn't know. I hadn't talked to you that much. That's the way it is. You do like a thing with a band. You go on the road and then you don't see each other for years or something sometimes. and you see each other and you like each other's fucking photos online. So it's kind of, and you say hi once in a while.
That's so real, right?
but I never really had a chance to talk to you about it. But yeah, man, that tour it's like a close place to our heart, because that was the first tour with the changing of the guard with Ephraim. Yeah, his first tour, and we weren't sure if we were going to be a band. We didn't say stuff out loud to you guys because trying to have fun. But that's why, and I'm sure you guys noticed, but we were like on our best behavior. There was nobody. I know people snuck in drinks, and we weren't like the you can't drink in our band, but we had just kind of been through the ringer the last couple years. Not to get into in the crazy details, but we went through the ringer with alcohol problems and just dysfunctionality. So we had to curb it just to say, hey man, it's business, man, and not to be all it's business, because if I was a businessman, I wouldn't be doing Voodoo Glow Skulls, man, for 33 years, but you got it. Yeah, I mean,
it's a business of love, though. I mean, to come back to, like, we were aware that you guys were having a transition moment here, you know what I mean? And kind of you're working here and, picking it up. But it's so great to see and inspiring as well, because any band that stays together that long is going to have these moments, right?
Oh, yeah, dude, it was just a weird thing because I think we were playing it off good, and we weren't really, but I mean, to get back to it, I mean, I have to thank you guys. I mean, and you guys will always be that first band that we did it with. I mean, that we did that first tour with. That was like a substantial tour, like a weeks. I mean, like weeks long, and it was in your country, which is rad. Because I mean, we've always really loved going there. So, which is Canada, by the way, for all you other people that are,
that's right,
that aren't paying attention. But we've always had a great time going to Quebec since day one, and going to, I mean, all the other provinces, and it's one of those places that even though we've had our moments there, it kind of eluded us. We just didn't tour it enough and extensive enough, if you ask me. It back in the heyday, I guess, like the heyday of the band, like like the '90s era. So, which I hate to say that because this last.
I was going to say your heyday is tomorrow, right?
Well, I mean the last couple of days, man. I mean, years have been just as fun, man. I mean, I can't deny. I mean, we did that first tour with you guys, and we weren't sure we were going to be a band. It was a fulfill the commitments tour. You know what I mean? And the Canada part was like an extension of that. So we just kept it going because, like, would you fucking stop? This is my shit. This is like, I mean, not to be my shit, but this is those songs were written like in a bedroom with the guitars and bass.
Well, it's your life at a certain point, man. I mean, you're living your life, man.
So when our brother decided to leave, it was a bit of a shock, and it wasn't supposed to happen the way it went down, if it was going to happen at all. So we were surprised and shocked, and we had to make the decision whether we basically say fuck you to our booking agent and the work he put into, fuck you to our 30, well, at that point, our 29th or going on the 30th years of band. And we had a whole 6 months booked, you know what I mean? So we were like, and we got it put it to us kind of bluntly, which I kind of don't mind now. It's like, we had people that we do business with, like our booking agent and the business manager. And when people put it to you bluntly, like, well, you're going to just fuck off because one dude doesn't want to do it and is pissed off and is drinking too much or whatever's going on in his life. We were far. I mean, we were kind of in a different state. So when he quit the band, we didn't really know what was going on with him at home personally at all, because that's 4 hours away from us.
Right.
I mean, he was in Arizona, so we were here going. We practice every week with our drummer, and we have our horn players close by on standby. That's the way we've done our band for years, and we practice every week. And we were like, what? We had to stop now. So we got it put kind of bluntly to us, and kind of thank God is that we had a bunch of commitments, man. We had shows and festivals to do, and
that's the best way, though, right? To keep things rolling. I mean, is like to have commitments ahead of you, to be able, always looking forward like that.
So that tour was a weird tour, because we were like, part of it was like something to prove, and part of it was like, is this like an apology tour? Like an apology to fans going, sorry, he fucking quit the band on us, but we started this shit. I write this music at the drop of a hat. This is what I do. And so it was a really weird thing to be on that tour, putting your head down and trying to rock and going, fuck motherfuckers. Fuck, if you don't like it, eat shit. We're just gonna play. And then you guys were cool, because you guys were just having a good fucking time, and it was rad to see. Because I was like, man. Oh yeah, this is what it's about. Yeah, man, fucking came on, having a good time, man. So we were like, yeah, this is, I mean, we probably would have partied a lot more and got down a little bit more. I mean, to be fair to you guys, and we probably did here and there. I'm sure someone snuck off and did some shit.
Well, dude, we had our fun for sure, man.
Yeah, but the band before the lineup before this was more of a good one, and part of the reason why we couldn't function a lot of the time. You can't deny it. Some great moments, and one day we may get back to that, some sort of original lineup thing one day. I would never deny that, because I'm not stupid, to say that. But for what we had to do, man, I can't apologize for like having to do, like, it was business as usual in a sense. We had to keep going because we had other people that relied on us as well. And even for like, I mean, we've always been like an indie band, but man, we've always charged hard with it. And it's kind of like, fuck, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to finish this next album and keep going. And that's that first tour though was like the catalyst. It was like, oh, we can do this. Like, we can do this. Even if people consider it a whole new thing. I mean, we're going to play the old shit and we're just going to move on with what the songs I've written anyways, to be fair, you know?
Well, that's it. And I mean, Ephraim got in there and he killed it, you know, like he brought that party and the energy. Cause like, I could tell everybody was like, you know, it's a big deal. I mean, you know, we're talking about a front man change here, you know, to be straight up for those.
It's not only that, people, I mean, most people know it's a family member. It's an
I
older
was
brother.
going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't, yeah. It's, you know, so that's like, I mean, don't you think we know? I know. It's like, that's a hard sell. I love bands. I'm a fan of bands, of course. And that's a hard motherfucking sell. And when people are used to somebody's face and their voice and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, well, you get put in that position. You don't plan on it. You know, who in their right mind ever goes, the perfect career move would be to have the lead singer leave or quit right now or kick him out right now. The guy who's been the guy who's done it all with you the whole time. But at some point it was like, well, he's acting like a stranger. He lives in a different state. And at some point, I guess even family, if they're acting like they're distant like that, you can't reach them. You know, you got to do what you got to do. And at that point, we were like left hanging big time. We had to restructure our whole band. You know,
right? Yeah.
So we did. You know, and which is something I've always done. It's always been the core, the core four. You know, at first, you know, for the first 4 years, and then we started to incorporate horns. And once it got back down to just 2 of the OGs, then, you know, I mean, we're so used to this. And once it worked with Ephraim, we were like, man, let's have more fun than ever with it, as a matter of fact, because we've already been through all the other shit. So now it's like, hey, this dude's cool and is like, has a different attitude and is having a good time and is like, it's new to him. So for us, it's like, let's just take care of these guys. Not just him. I mean, the horn players and
absolutely
the drummer Steven too, you know, I mean, we've always been that band. I've always just wanted to stay busy and to keep it positive and in a sense, keep on doing the same music we've always done, you know. That hasn't changed that much, you know, as far as that goes.
Well, that's it, because like you guys did come in, you know, with this. I think it was about 99. This is the first full length, right?
No, man, it's actually 93.
93, right. I mean, and you guys came with this sound that nobody else had a sound like that. Like, and that's one of the big things I want to really get at. How did this sound come together? Like, what kind of influences kind of brought this thing together? Because I mean, it's original. As soon as anybody hears the Voodoo Glow Skulls and may have heard them once before, they know it. Like, even if they never heard the song, that's you guys.
Yeah,
and that's cool.
It just ended up being a mix, I think, of what we grew up on. I mean, like most bands, you know, we our first shit was oldies. The first stuff we liked was like the Coasters and like, you know, I mean, that's why we do Charlie Brown. You know,
yeah, man.
I mean, one of our first, the first record that like made like an impact was a vinyl comp that used to be able to get like at Thrifties, like in the vinyl section, or I think we either bought it at Thrifties or at Kmart, and it was a vinyl compilation called Funny Bone Favorites, and it had a bunch of random oldies that were silly songs.
Were they all 45s in a box?
They probably did that too. I'm sure that was a TV box set, or they had them there, you know, like
because I had one of those. I loved it.
yeah. So it had a bunch of like those kind of campy, like 50s cool, you know, those cool songs, which were the first rock and roll era songs, which are really badass groups if you dig deeper than them being like a silly compilation of songs that, you know, those bands are. I mean, those are classic bands. So the first stuff that really grabbed me was like the Coasters. And like those bands of like from the 50s that had like a lot of like kind of like aspects of like kind of like vaudeville. And
yeah,
they kind of
absolutely.
And they had horns, and they had kind of had like almost like kind of like soundtrack vibes to them, like kind of like a cartoony, you know. And and that makes me think of Fishbone. now, but which was like another big thing is we went from being into oldies and then getting into heavy metal and all the stuff in the 70s and 80s, like I mean all the classic rock stuff. My older brother Frank, who's 4 years older than me, he brought a lot of the first records home, of course, from like high school era. So he brought home like from the first Iron Maiden albums, of course, to the first AC/DC stuff, to the Scorpions. I mean the new wave of British heavy metal is like, that's probably like, I don't even know how much of that is us, but that's a lot of Voodoo Glow Skulls. We may not sound like a metal band to people or like a new wave of Brit, but we play that way and it comes out that way because 98% of what we have always listened to have always been, I always go back to Iron Maiden.
Yeah, man. I know this because we talked about this on tour, right?
Yeah, I'm sure we did. Yeah, because I know you and I know what you're. I already had a sense of what you liked in you, but that's my shit. You know, I mean, I'm 49 years old, man. That's my era. I grew up on Headbangers Ball and everything before that and everything after that. So we're always thinking that. I mean, even though we ended up being in more of a fusion ska punk, you know, like hardcore, like sometimes metal-ish hardcore band, that all comes from mostly just those influences, and they're basically the oldie stuff, and then the heavy metal stuff and all the classic rock stuff.
That really makes sense. I can hear it now that you say it that way, you know, whether it's the Drifters or the Coasters or one of these 50s bands, you know.
Yeah.
But I hear that influence in your metal ska. And that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, we always try to make it kind of like fun, like a band, you know, and then not that we always wanted it to be like a fun party band, the way those bands sound, but then at the same time, the whole mod thing was going on, mods and ska.
Yeah,
and that was like 1979, like 83 or something like that. Like the two-tone thing was influencing my older brother, who was bringing it home to us. So he had like a Vespa, and he was wearing like a parka with the checkers, and I was probably like 13, and just playing those records at home and absorbing that stuff with my younger brother George, who's, you know, he plays bass, of course, and he's 2 younger, you know, he's 2 years younger. So we were just absorbing it and learning the instruments that whole time he was bringing those records home. We were starting to pick up the little bass that was there, and I had like a little Schaefer and Sons guitar, like a cheap, looks like kind of like Strat copy. So we were trying to learn all that stuff, you know, at first, just, you know, and but yeah, we were into that stuff, and then we got into all the whole like British movement, like the Specials, the Selector. I mean, those are. Do
you remember all the 80s videos from Madness? I always remember those videos, man.
I mean, the One Step Beyond video, like those images, first seeing those images of like England.
Yeah. And they all look like prospectors and doing the line dancing and all that.
When they're doing the and it has like this like the skanking, like the skinhead ska guy and all that stuff. Yeah, dude, that stuff left a huge impact. So we were like absorbing like those images of the Specials and the ska and the two-tone movement, all that stuff. And at the same time, Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast, bro, and Scorpions, Scorpions Blackout. Those are like big deal. Like, I mean, those are Bible records. Those are like, I just revisit those. Like, you know.
Well, I totally like that mix. I wonder, I think more and more like the energetic ska bands really kind of zoned in on some of that metal energy and putting it into the ska. I think that's a real thing because, like, you know, there's a big difference between Tuesday night music and Saturday night music. You know what I mean? And at shows, it's definitely fun when you have a hyped up crowd and they're having a good time. So I think bringing that energy in, it just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like we had a reggae song called "Got Me Moving" that was totally based off of Running Free.
Yeah, see that's cool shit. See, that's the kind of stuff that we would do, and yeah, I like that way of thinking. That's our shit, man. And you know, and we got into that stuff, and then we've always at the same time you have to think. See, I mean, this whole world of music was going on with with MTV. So like, I like all the old rap stuff, all the first hip hop stuff, because we were influenced by like DJs and stuff like that, because those backyard parties in Southern California, that was a thing. So
right, that makes sense.
I mean, there was DJ crews that would do these parties, you know, like on the weekends at night, you know, because the weather was nice the whole time. And there would be like these backyard parties with people dancing. And so we were influenced by that too. That's where the whole, like the Dr. Dre school of like hip hop came from, is like DJs and like dance music and like hip hop DJs first came from that. And we were influenced by that because we were 13 and 14. And that's the kind of stuff that was going on like at the backyard parties out here too.
And that's the sponge ages, right? Like no matter what's around you, you're soaking it all in, man, for sure.
Yeah, man. So I love all that stuff. And then all the changes to the music that you loved anyways, because if you love Maiden, then of course after that came all like, you know, like Slayer and everything else of the world, you know, and you're like, so I gravitate towards that stuff because I can't help it. That's so, you know what I mean? But then again, I mean, when I grew up a little bit more and hit like, you know, 17, 18, 19, the big LA bands were, you know, I mean, there was a trifecta. I mean, there was a little bit more than that, but the trifecta was Fishbone, Jane's Addiction, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I can't help that be my era, man. You know, I mean, for my age group and for being, you know, I mean, super close to LA. Like
you were born in 71, so it makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah. So that's
I know that because I'm 49 too.
Yeah. See, so I mean, so you totally get it. So I was like with the Hollywood scene in my own backyard all the way through my life. I mean, from the first time being like the heavy metal scene. So when Motley Crue was coming up and Van Halen and the Crew and the US Festival happened, that was all in my own backyard here. Like, you know, also, so the whole glam rock scene was going on there. And I was getting a taste of all that because I lived an hour away. So I was hearing about Guns N' Roses when I was 14 and just like a little bit too young to go to the shows at the clubs. But, you know, I know there was kids that were getting to sneak out and do that shit. But I was like, dude, Guns N' Roses is an hour away. You know what I mean? So I was,
and I'm sure it was a lot easier sneaking into the outside festival shows than the inside concerts, right?
Yeah, and we went to a lot of the shows that to me are the classic shows. It's like some hippies or somebody saying they were at the filming of Woodstock when they, you know, at the Woodstock concert or movie. I was at the show when they filmed the Iron Maiden, like Live After Death.
Live After Death, right? That's right. That was in LA. I forgot about that.
That was at the Long Beach Arena. I was there with my younger brother George and our friend Robbie. We were dropped off there by our parents, and I was at one of the shows there, you know, with Twisted Sister as an opener, which is crazy. Yeah, and funny. And Stay Hungry was a huge album at the time, so they had a single. And Iron Maiden didn't, and they were still like the opening band. That's how big Maiden was.
Well, that's it. They weren't the only band that like became one of the biggest live bands in the world with no radio support whatsoever, right?
Oh yeah, that's what's badass about that. It's like a forever like a rad, you know, like a biggest DIY secret, in a way. You know, they've always kept it real. You know what I mean? And they've had radio play, I'm sure, on plenty of stations. I mean, you can hear Number of the Beast on like, you know, the stations here like once in a while or something, but not like A, B, or C. You know, you can name bands, you know, and it's like not the same thing as a radio band like Korn or Avenged Sevenfold. Or, I mean, you name bands. I don't have anything against those bands. Yeah. But, you know,
but I find there's something so real about somebody that, you know how I was saying, you know, in those, you know, when you're 13, whatever, you're a sponge. But there's something so real about this era of music as well, because like, you know, the whole melting pot thing, and, you know, then there's talk, what is cultural appropriation, what isn't, and all this kind of thing. But as a kid, you just soak up what's around you. And these were, you know, the times when they actually had music on the video shows and stuff like that. And like, you know, whether it's the Power Hour or the Funkadelic Hour or whatever it is, but you're taking it all in equally, right? And I mean, Voodoo Glow Skull seemed like the perfect like response to all that, or living all of that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of soaked the whole thing in, like, and didn't really discriminate. I mean, we got kind of a lesson in scenism, scenesterism, like whatever you call it, real quick, because we some of our first first road trips, we would get little like notes on our van, or like somebody would like vandalize our like one time I believe it was in like in Tucson, Arizona. One of our first our first ventures out, right after Who Is This Is was out or about to be out. So we were kind of getting some hype, And like there was either a little bit of buzz. I mean, we could tell we were doing it right and starting to kind of sell out shows more, and like we were getting to be more of a thing where we could travel out and pack out shows. And we did a Tucson show with a bunch of like more trad ska type bands. And this is probably like 92 or something. And we played our show. You know, it was probably like the Who Is It Says set, like that whole era. And we got a note on our van and a bunch of lipstick or something written all over our white Ford van. And it was like, you're ruining the ska scene or something like that. And what you're doing is a travesty to the two-tone movement or trad movement or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were just like, shit. We were just like, I don't know. We were so into what we did and so into those bands that we were influenced by. Getting back to the trifecta of LA music. We looked. I mean, we were in the Fishbone and like Jane's Addiction and like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who kind of mixed it up. And we took we took cues from them more than like one scene, even though that was a scene. I guess they kind of were a scene and had their own shit going on. Each band, we kind of gravitated towards that. If you ask me, at least that's the way I saw it. Is like, look at Fishbone, man, with fucking Crazy Angelo doing backflips and playing sax, and then, I mean, fucking Kendall playing like, you know, heavy riffs, and then, you know, fucking Norwood. It's all different, you know, with crunchy guitars and then the skanky shit going on. So I took.
I'll never forget him live. He got on stage in the middle of a Slightly Stupid set, I think it was. I saw, and he just makes like, put your right hand in the air, put your left hand in your underwear, baby, shake your ass. He's going nuts and shit. He's having a good old time. I love it.
Dude. See, so I mean, so it seems like most people that are around him would have like an Angelo story where he did that. He either joined somebody on stage or stole a show or did something. I have a pretty good one. Is we had just done a tour with the Mighty Bosstones, which is the first band that really took us out like on a real tour where we like got to see a band like in a tour bus that was like selling out like clubs and theaters. That was our first like taste of like, oh, this is what a real band like this is like we aspire to be, at least at this level, you know. Yeah. So because we were kind of we were like starting to bubble under a little bit, and we were about to sign to Epitaph Records. And we did our first our first real tour was with those guys, where we say like real tour, like I said, where we saw like the real deal, like a band with a real itinerary playing like all these crazy shows. And so we did a tour with them, and we get back, and that same year they were on Lollapalooza. So when they came to Southern California, we went to see them as like just guests, just to go hang out. So we're backstage at the local amphitheater, and they're playing with like Hole and like Cypress Hill. Giant show in front of like, you know, like 20,000 people or something. And Angelo shows up, and backstage in the little backstage trailer, they were like giving them like the cues, like, hey man, so during this song you're going to come up and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And we were just a fly. I was a fly on the wall, just kind of watching the whole thing. And they're like kind of telling him, now you're going to come out during this part and just do this, and you're going to have this microphone or whatever. And he just proceeds to come out. We watch him for the side. He just comes out and, you know, fucking somersaults onto the stage or something, you know, with a baritone sax and just bounces all over the stage. And it's like, he was a lead singer now. It was awesome. It was amazing. It was amazing to see it though. And, you know,
those are great magic moments, man. I love it.
Oh yeah. I'll never forget that. And a giant place like that, you know, so close to home too. But yeah, that band was a big deal. That's pretty much, I mean, them and the two-tone movement as well, like the whole two-tone era, are why we would even touch anything ska.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that sounds fair.
That's why we do it. I mean, other stuff. I got into like trad ska a little bit more like after I learned more about it, you know, which wasn't that late or anything. For cred, I kind of knew what was going on, but what grabbed us was that era, because that's what we heard, man, was the two-tone era. I mean, that Specials album, if there was as many Specials album as there was Maiden albums, you bet your ass I'd be more of a fanatic. But you have to be fanatic over that one album or 1.5 or 2 albums or whatever they got, and then plus the new shit. I love the new album.
The new album, it's great,
dude. I love the new album. I blast that shit like the classic one. So I mean, to be fair to them, you know, there's some
I
shit
love the way they handled the BLM. I thought that was fucking priceless.
Oh, dude, that's my favorite shit. I bumped that record still. I just haven't played it in a while because I played it that whole year where I was like, dude, I played it. And then, you know, you relive stuff and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to play this for 6 months again, you know? But I'm
often like that. I'll zone in on a couple albums for a period of time, then zone in on another, you know, and sometimes come back.
but we sound like the way we do, if we're getting back to the sound of the band or anything like that, it's because of that shit, man. Is because if we had to do the ska part of it and the horn section part of it is all because of Fishbone, you know, and then the ska of the two-tone movement, you know, which isn't so horn heavy is Fishbone, but I mean Fishbone was the shit to see in the band blowing up and the excitement here besides Guns N' Roses and besides Jane's Addiction and like the Chili Peppers. So you could go see those bands. A
whole other scene, right?
Yeah, and then on top of that, all the punk rock going on. I have to give it up to all that. That's why, you know, we're very much a punk rock band because the first stuff we heard was like the Descendants. You know, that's the first stuff we heard, and they're from close by too. You know what I mean? So we heard that stuff. I mean, Black Flag, you know, all the early Epitaph stuff, you know, was a big deal. You know, I went to all those shows, man. I saw some classic moments. I saw Bad Religion in Tijuana in Mexico the night that Sam Kinison died.
All right, you're gonna remember that,
yeah, pretty nuts, right? That was crazy, but that was I believe the Against the Grain tour, if I'm not mistaken. But
hey, here's a question for you, Cheech and Chong.
Yeah,
all right. You guys seem to have some kind of relationship. They're on your albums. There's all kinds of snippets. I see the love and I smell the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is like this would probably be like the longest it's ever taken for me to say all of our influences and what we like, because that's the next thing I was going to say is stand-up comedy. At that same time when we got our first records and our first, I mean, the first things you hear, you know, somehow, I guess through my older brother and his friends, we were introduced to like stuff we shouldn't be listening to, like Richard Pryor albums, like on vinyl.
Yeah, man.
And I was a little kid. I was like 10, 11, 12. And we were listening to like Richard Pryor, you know.
Yeah, wasn't that with the monkey dick in the ear there? I remember that.
Exactly. That stuff is like embedded into my brain, like Back in Black and like Number of the Beast and like Too Much Too Young or whatever. That's
and Eddie Murphy.
Like, exactly. That's next. That's the same. And he came out like in '82. That's my shit too. So we were big into stand-up comedy, and we probably come across as like the opposite. I've seen stuff online, you know, like I've seen everything about our band, like from the band we're mean or we're not sociable or we're the nicest guys in the world. I don't know. I
think you're funny as shit. I love it.
but I've heard it. Oh no, there was some Twitter thing going around. We get tagged by assholes once in a while and things. It was like the meanest bands in punk, and our band was in there somewhere. And I was like, fuck, you know, I was like, eat shit. I was like, yeah, fucking pussy. Like, come on. Like that kind of stuff is like makes me laugh. But what was the point, man? We're to get back to it.
We're just talking about Eric, but yeah, no, Cheech and Chong, because like there's a bunch of snippets on the albums, right? How did this all come about?
Okay, well, but get back to my point though, is we're very much influenced by that. So that's why the little samples and you know, we've had little skits on our records and little things, because and some of our lyrics have been funny, if you ask me, that they're meant to be funny.
Absolutely.
I mean, Fat Randy, there's a lot of songs that are funny, that no matter what, if you have somewhat of a sense of humor, and if you dig deeper, I mean, they might be a little sophomoric, because, you know, I mean, there's no rocket scientists. We're just, you know, just trying to have a good time, and everybody did their own thing, and everyone has their own levels of education, and everyone has their own thing in life. But that band was meant to have fun, and we dig into social politics. And you could tell, of course, if you pay attention, you know. But we weren't really trying to be too preachy or anything like that. You know what I mean? We're mostly about a good time, or at least trying to convey something more serious with a good time kind of sounding band, whether it might have a heavy breakdown here and there. You know, you hear it with the horns, and, you know, we're trying to have a good time with it and to splash around some cool the cool things that we like about certain like styles of music. You know,
right.
I love Hatebreed and like old school hardcore too. So we like to incorporate like a hardcore breakdown during the fun ska song or during.
That's why you're the band Geek Mafia. I love it.
Yeah, you know, and that whole thing. But to get back to the Cheech and Chong thing, yeah, that was a big deal to us, and we were like, no one's done this, so let's do like what punk rock bands do and like put samples of stuff we like. You know how bands had like samples of Reagan or something, or samples of a speech, or we were like, can't we just put like, can't we call the album this and just have them do the name of our album first? You know, that's kind of like, you know, so we had a good time with film samples and stuff like that. And
I love that when it's incorporated into an album. I really do. It kind of lets it breathe sometimes between songs, kind of, you know, laugh for a minute, then get into the next, you know, thing.
Yeah, which to get back to that too is that you can't really get away with it so much anymore because of sampling era and because of getting sued or possibly getting sued. So we actually got a cease and desist.
Oh, really?
For the Feedma album though. So for the Shoot the Moon sample, at the beginning of the first Epitaph album, there's a Cheech and Chong like that's what starts the record, and the record label got a cease and desist, I believe, from the movie company. It must have been about 15 years ago now, but yeah, so they had to take the sample off of that. So if you happen to have the old,
I'm sure that was not Cheech and Chong. I'm sure that was not.
Oh no, I'm sure. I believe it was actually like a letter from Universal or from Warner Brothers or whoever owns it. If I remember right, I remember seeing like the email. We got like tagged in an email back in the day or something. But yeah, I mean, if you happen to have like a CD version or a vinyl version of that, then it's, you know, then you have the version with a sample on it. You know?
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, those laws that changed everything, right? But did you ever meet those guys?
No. No, I mean, I'm sure I could have gotten close and tried to, but no, man, I actually haven't tried. I don't know how they would take that, if they would even be like, oh, you used our shit to promote your shitty punk rock band or something. I don't know what they would think. Or they might be real cool. But I think
Ephraim was on a podcast with Tommy Chong. Yeah. So I was wondering. I thought
that's a good point, and I forgot about that. And I don't. Ephraim probably escaped him, because unless we would have brought it up, which I didn't bring it up to him, but
right.
he didn't play on that record though, so maybe that's why he wouldn't have thought about it. But it would have been cool for him to go, hey, have you ever heard this before? You know, just
right.
just to fuck with him when he's high.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But yeah, they're a big influence. I mean, being like, you know, like Latin based kind of comedy too. We grew up on that. We saw those movies, and yeah, man, that's
I freaking love it.
That goes them and Richard Pryor and like Gilda Radner. We had all these 8-track tapes, and we had these certain ones that you could buy like at Kmart or wherever you could buy 8 tracks then, because there was a comedy section, and we had like Richard Pryor. I mean, we had multiple Richard Pryor like tapes, you know, like little 8-track tapes. We had a Gilda Radner one, which is great. We had like an AC/DC one and like a few of those like rock ones and stuff like that. And we also had like a Robin Williams one, I think. So we were always into
old Robin Williams was amazing.
Oh man, we were all about it. So that was a big deal. So that's like, what do you get when you have a little mismatched punk rock metal ska band, and you also love stand-up comedy? Is try to, whatever you can, incorporate something into either the lyrics, like in your own way you think is funny, whether people think it's funny or not, it's fine. But even like with the titles like Human Piñata, we have certain little things that we throw in there. So like, well, that's a funny title, you know, that's, you know. So
it must have been hard to classify, like, you know how like record labels, you know, they want to get the album into the record store, and where do you put it? You know, do you put it in hardcore? Do you put it in heavy metal? Do you put it in ska or alternative? That must have been like the jungle for them.
Yeah, we were mostly in the punk section because of Epitaph and because of Doctor Strange. So it's mostly the label association, which I get, you know. Yeah, of course, you know, which is I mean, I was proud to be on those labels at each time when we were there. It made sense, you know. Mm-hmm. We were on the golden era of Epitaph, man, when it was like, it felt like punk rock Motown to be on there, like in '95. It was a dream, You know, it was like probably the best time to be on a label of that type at that time. You know, so we took full advantage of it and got to reap all the benefits up until now. I mean, thankfully. So I don't take that for granted, man. You know, we were lucky to be associated at the right time. They actually saw something in us, which was actually the Who's album played a big part. Is somehow Brett, the owner, got wind of Who's, you know, because it was getting played like on rotation by the employees in the office. From what we heard, and so he caught wind of it and was like, "Who's this band you're playing?" They still showed him the CD, and he called our record store. We used to own a little record store. I used to run a little punk rock shop with my older brother.
Oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Yeah, we used to have a little record store called Cheap Guy Music.
I love it.
Which is also the name of the song on that album. So we had a little store, and he called our record store one day. He's like, "This is Brett from Epitaph Records. You know, the guitar player of Bad Religion calling your store when you're selling their records every day." You know,
that's wild. You must have just been like,
"Oh yeah, that was the golden era, you know, for that stuff." So he calls the store and asks if this is where the Voodoo Glow Skulls are. And we're like, "Yeah, this is us," and wanted to sign the band. And it was like we had been talking to talking to 2 or 3 major labels at the time, and we actually even took some lunches. We took some meetings.
Free food.
Exactly. So we had a meeting with I mean, I could break it down to you because it wasn't that many. It wasn't like a Green Day bidding war or anything, but it was you know, we had some labels for a ska punk band who was like playing backyards. You know, I mean, from Riverside, which
and the attention is good attention at that point, you know.
Well, especially back then, we were from like what people kind of talk shit about. From if you're from LA and you're from Orange County, and maybe even from San Diego, of course, they talk shit about Riverside County, like we're the armpit and Hicks and stuff like that. But now, 20 fucking years later or more, this is where the hipsters are because of Coachella and because of downtown Riverside. So now. I mean, we've always been cool here, but they've always, you know, talked shit about us over there. So it's been kind of funny. But to get back to, what was the point, man? I was talking shit. I got caught up.
I love it. That's what we do out here. We just talk shit. But I'm going to change subjects. How about this? I'm a guitar player. You're a guitar player. And you got some cool guitars. And I'm trying to remember what they were called. I think they were Dream something guitars.
Dream Studios. Yeah.
Dream Studios. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, I have a Dream Studio. Actually, I'm staring right at it. It's right behind my phone. But I have man. I've had like I guess you'd call it like an endorsement. You know, like I have a guy who started a company, who started with just a couple artists, and he's trying to build his name and his company and his rep. So he started with me as one of the first guitarists. You know, that he builds guitars for.
Yeah, because you have a few of them, right?
Yeah, man, I'm flooded with rad guitars that are all like different styles. Whatever you want, my friend. I have all the guitars.
I love it. I remember you let me touch the. I played one of your guitars on that tour one day, and the feel of those were great, man.
It was probably
It
was probably the checkerboard one. Yeah, but that's a one-off one that he just made me. Just like I don't know what the shape is. What would that shape be? It's sort of like a offshoot of a telly,
kind of a modern C thing going on there.
It's kind of like a warp telly, you know, type of thing, or like a Mustang almost shape or something. I'm not good with the shape names or what. It's kind of like a warp telly vibe, which I always kind of like those shapes. I'm a big dude, so I need like a bigger warped kind of shape like that, or bigger rounded shape works for my height. So he built me that, and I've been playing that one for about 2 years straight almost. I love that thing. And I have like different kind of like I have different various shredding tools, man. I got like a Gretsch kind of style, you know, like a hollow body. With
do you?
Like a
I love them. Yeah.
I have that.
With P90s, or what kind of pickups do you have in that?
They're all Seymour Duncans.
Okay.
They're all various models. Like for the shredder guitars, I have like the active, like the active blackouts, and then I have like the Seymour Duncan, I think like the JBs or something like that. They're all, they're all different. I have like some that are made kind of kind of like more like for shredding with that kind of neck and style.
Mm-hmm.
And
like a thinner neck.
Exactly, with like Floyd Roses and stuff like that.
Right.
And then I have, like I said, like a hollow body one. I got more of like a Strat style one. And then he just sent me like I think it was a one-off of like a BC Ritz, like a Warbird or Ironbird or whatever they're called, like
a metal shredding guitar.
Yeah, it's a crazy looking shredder, guitar with horns and things sticking out of it. It's badass, dude. But I play every one of them. I'm super lucky that he hooked it up and that he knows I have a studio, so he kind of endorses my like project studio. So I just bust out guitars that people need some certain flavor, certain style, sound.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, if you do have studio, it is good to have all different sounds. Are they all double coils, or do you have any guitars with single coils?
I do have a couple with single coils. I have like a Strat style one, which I'm bad with like the model names, but he has more of a Strat vibe kind of one that has the
reason I was asking is because, like, on the Voodoo Glow Skulls, like, you're one of the bands where it actually works, and a lot of bands this doesn't work, where the guitar player is, doing the ups, but with a really heavily distorted sound. A lot of bands try to do that, and it doesn't work. But with you, it works.
Oh, so man, thank you, man. I totally appreciate that. I don't really, I know. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't pay attention so much to what people would think of that. I mean, I might get a comment thrown at me by somebody like randomly. I might see something, but I make it a point not to live in like comment land or world, because I'm 49 years old. There's no point. Why would you want to live that way? Came on.
Right.
you tell me, came on. Came on. Why?
But it's cool because, like, when you do like, if you have a clean sounding one, that's why I was asking if you had any guitars with single coil pickups. Like, if you're just tanking with a clean sound, use the double.
I actually purposely did the whole distorted crunchy tone to kind of get away from what I had heard, I guess. Not that it was a bad thing, but I just wanted to find that fine line between like metal and rock and stuff, the tones that I grew up playing on and trying to learn on, which are like more saturated, like overdrive and like crunchy guitars. And I still love the clean tones, but I just made it a point to stay away from it when we did our recordings in our band, once we developed our sound, which came kind of quick. You know what I mean? I guess my first like definitive guitar tone would be on Who Is This Is, which would be a Studio Light Les Paul.
Okay, yeah.
With a normal like a stock humbucker, going into a Fender M80 solid state amp, which is almost like the sound of like a crappy distortion pedal in a way. But I actually love that tone, especially when I was back, like in '92. I love that sound, and that's what I gravitated towards. And I had a Marshall before that, as a matter of fact. I had a Marshall.
You know what, though? I'm really happy to hear you say that, because I find, like, there's this whole thing about tube amps, and and yes, they are fantastic. But there is something to be said about some solid state amps in certain, settings or times, or whatever. But for recording, some solid state amps sound fantastic.
Yeah, and I that's the thing. I just gravitated, to what I like, and I had owned a Marshall before that, like a little 50-watt head,
right.
And I gravitated towards the Fender M80. I think it's just because I grew up. Well, the sound of '80s metal is Marshall stuff, I guess, too. But for some reason, maybe because the Fender M80, they made those to gear towards like kids that wanted like the look of like, because I had the gray carpeted one that looked like it was road ready.
Right. Yeah, man. I know exactly what you mean.
I love that thing so much at that time. I thought it was the shit playing that thing. And I don't care if you were in like Metallica and had a rack of whatever, like the Mesa Boogie shit. I just love like the little gray carpeted Fender. Like I bought it brand new, and the tone of it was cool, and it was my shit. And I was probably naive and young and dumb, but that's how we developed our sound. It was like I wanted to play that all the ska stuff with a little bit more crunch, but try to control it with the palm of your hand.
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of letting it fly with too much of gain, you know what I mean? And I think I probably played with too much gain on that record. That would be the most gainy tone I think I've used. it's, you know, because that was our first album, and I definitely wasn't paying attention to the to the engineers.
Well, it's a process as well, right?
Yeah, and I wasn't paying attention as much as I would now since I became an engineer like throughout life and learn more and like pay attention now. Then it was like, you do what you want. I was young and I was like, I think that sounds like my guitar. Sounds like my guitar to me, you know. But in hindsight, you know, there's probably like a lot of reverb on that recording and stuff that I would probably do differently now. But hey, it's a moment, and we sold. I mean, we sold a lot for a little band playing out here, and it manages to take us actually to this point, you know, which is cool, you know. But yeah, I wanted to basically do what the Specials and Fishbone were, you know, I mean, we're like doing, and and I but you know, I wanted it to, like, I know you're not supposed to mix like the whole Scott thing was like, you know, it's like, you put chocolate in my peanut butter, no, you put peanut butter in my chocolate, you know. I always thought about it that way, and I get it, you know, you want to wear your little suit and your little skinhead and your little boots and go do your thing. I get it. I loved a lot of that stuff, but yeah, we just wanted to play it all, I guess. And some people don't like that. And in a way, I was like, dude, I always want to crunch it up and play heavy, but can I just do little upstrokes here and there, make the vibe of ska with some horns? Because that's what I wanted to do, you know. So,
and it makes total sense.
I mean, to me, you know, and it's not like it was reinventing the wheel. I mean, maybe at the time it was like, oh, let's just crank it up a little more. To me, that's all it was. It's like, oh, let's crank it up a little bit more because I still really love Iron Maiden and I love the tones on these records of the Fishbone and you know all these guys that were like, to me, doing like a whole mixture of music. That was cool. What's really cool about it
what you said though is like having that overly distorted sound, which I know it's really hard to control when you're playing little short breaks all the time and you're talking about palm muting it, but your technique of being able to do that well is really good because you're going super fast and it's like you're saying the gain is to the max on that album, right? Just to have it, you know, keep it clean and tight like that is pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that people gravitate toward. I mean, towards their own style, I think, and what you think you should sound like. You know, I think that's everybody's. I mean, isn't that what most people do in their own band is like your interpretation of like music and what you think that music should sound like, or a style should sound like. If you're a trad,
absolutely,
like if you're in the trad ska world, you're probably trying to convey like what you think trad ska should sound like to people, right? Well, that's what I think ska punk or ska hardcore punk metal should sound like, or whatever you call it. I mean, we can't even pinpoint the title on the band, if you ask me. That's why
that's what I was getting at. Yeah,
I mean, we always kind of, you know, we've been left out of stuff. You know, we're not quite punk enough for the punkers that do this, or just punk enough for the punk rockers that do this.
Too reggae for punk, right?
Yeah, or too this for that, or, you know, or like, oh yeah, like none of the metalheads really fuck with you unless they're like really open minded. Then metalheads will fuck with you because they play a little head. I just don't like metal. I like some ska. I like punk and dance music or pop music too. See, so all this shit you can't really satisfy everybody. So like that's just our interpretation of what shit should sound like. Maybe it's just Voodoo, of course, our own thing. Maybe people think we got it from somebody else. I don't know. We obviously got ideas from someone. From those. We took ideas from what we love for sure. That's how you do it. You know, if you ask me.
Yeah, man.
And then your brain concocts whatever you and spits it out however you see your thing, you know. And
exactly. But I mean, it worked. You made your sound, man, and it's here to stay. It's always going to be here, you know.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and to get back to that too, man. Not to be like to harp too much back on it, but that first tour was. I mean, imagine doing it for so long, and you're like, man, I don't know if we're going to do it anymore. Like this is probably the lead singer don't want to do it with us anymore. Well, and then we just fell into that whole tour that naturally felt natural again. Like, oh, we have a band. We have a band.
So happy. I'm so happy to have been there for that moment.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, man.
And I wasn't talking in vain when I told you multiple times, hey, you guys need to come to the U.S. with us and do some shit. But that was still, and even up until this point, we're only a couple years away from when we saw you guys, and that was really like we really haven't had a chance to do a tour, a proper tour in the States. We've only done support things for bigger bands because we're still testing waters on like, well, now we lost a whole year, all of us did, so we don't know what's going to happen. But when the world gets back to normal, we're still testing waters with like, I mean, I know we could do our thing, but like we're going to put out a record and like be basically a new thing to a lot of people. And I know we lost people, we gained people for sure. That's life. But
I can't wait to hear it. Now listen, I'm almost. I have 1 hour of recording time. Okay, on this, so we're almost to the end. So first of all, it's amazing to see your face. And what I love your dog. I like all his pictures.
Thanks, man.
Can you tell our people 3 albums that they should absolutely listen to once in their life, and 1 guilty pleasure? Do you have that for me to close out here?
3 albums they should listen to in their life and 1 guilty pleasure. Man, that's so good. I'll be judged by this forever, but
I love it.
Fishbone, Truth and Soul.
Yeah, man.
Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. Oh man, there's so much more.
I know it's hard to pick 3, right?
Oh man, the first Specials record.
That's fair. That's fucking great one.
I mean, those are all no. I fully stand by those. There's just so many to choose. But yeah, listen to that shit.
Yeah, man. Now you're driving alone on the car. No one is around to judge you, and something comes on the radio, and you're jamming to it. What is it?
As far as music goes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dude. So I got to think of this stuff that I should be embarrassed about, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Even though nothing's embarrassing because everything we should love,
there's a lot of shit that people I know I'd be judged by. But I want people to really make fun of me though.
That's it, right? Go all in.
But I want to go all in. But like I don't know, I could be made fun of very easy. But I don't really like. There's nothing that extreme. Like there's no like Katy Perry pop stuff or nothing. Not to even make fun of that. It's just not my lane. I like whatever. But I don't even. There's no point in making fun of that to me. I think I kind of respect all the big pop shit. Wow. You know what? The guilty pleasure is like, okay, The Strokes. The Strokes.
There you go. Right on.
Yeah. I don't give a shit. Yeah. I love the guitar playing and most
and it's rock and roll.
About that. Yeah, and it's rock and roll to me. It's still rock and roll to me, bro. No,
that's it, brother.
But hey, dude, thanks so much, man. I'm stoked to see you. And nobody really asked to do. I don't really get asked to do this stuff that much. That's why at first I was a little bit reluctant because I was like, but I've done a lot of press stuff though, so I'm used to that. But
man, I'm just happy to sit down, see your face, and when all this is over, I know like when the pandemic hit, we just did our 2 first American shows, and then pandemic hit, and we had to go home. So we were just about to fucking get out there.
No, man,
COVID was doing the booking and everything.
If we can make something happen for you, I mean, I believe. Don't hold me to it, but I believe we're supposed to be on the same record label. Coming up
I heard a rumor to that. I heard a rumor about that.
I mean, we're just kind of waiting. We're just kind of waiting for like the paperwork and like the logistics that are out of my hands right now. But we're like really close to like going, hey, let's still. I mean, we're pretty much mixing a record and kind of have a guy working on the artwork right now. So we're like at that level. We're like guys working on the art. We're sitting on mixes that aren't done, but pretty much ready to be mixed. And and because of COVID hit, we had we have to wait to finish one song because we don't want to be around each other. But once we record this one vocal song, which will take a day or two, we're pretty much going to kind of like turn in a record. We're that close. So,
well, then we know it. The day will come. We're going to tear down this wall and we're going to get on the road. I love it.
Yeah, brother. Dude, I'm so stoked to see you. Thank you so much. And tell the dudes I say what's up.
Absolutely. That's it. No bananas. No bananas. Love you, brother. Peace.
Thanks, bro.
Boom. Came and don't know shit.
I might not know shit, but